Hi guys, this is Drew Brashler with DBB Audio. Today we're going to be looking at the Fair Compressor, which is built into the effects section of the X32. The Fair Compressor is modeled after the FairChild 670, which is really well known for their amazing sound. The original actually had 14 transformers and 20 tubes. So the FairChild 670 is a stereo compressor, also known as a mid-side compressor, or the original was titled a lat-vert compressor. So on the board we actually have three different types of that compressor built in. We have a stereo, a dual, and an MS, which stands for mid-side. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and take a look at it here. So the first thing that we're going to do is press our effects button, and that will bring us into our effects rack. And I'm going to choose to insert the Fair Comp onto our stereo bus and use a drum track today to show you guys this. So we're going to go ahead and take this knob right here. We're going to rotate this until we get to our Fair Comp. So there's three Fair Comps here. There's the Fair Comp, there's the MS Fair Comp, and the dual Fair Comp. So the first one is going to be our stereo Fair Compressor. Our next one is the MS Fair Comp, which is a middle sides compressor, or the lat-vert, as the original FairChild 670 was called. And the last one is a dual, basically this giving us two channels independent of each other. So let's go ahead and take a look at the MS Fair Comp. Once we have that selected, we're going to go ahead and press set. And then we're going to go to our insert, and we're going to go scroll all the way down until we hit main left right, which is right there. So we're going to go ahead and press select. Once we have pressed that, we'll want to insert it. And now the Fair Comp is inserted into our main left-right channel. So let's go ahead and go into a little bit more detail and take a look at what control knobs we have on the Fair Compressor. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and press the Edit button right here. And that brings us into our Fair Compressor. Now, notice that there is a 1 and a 2. That means that there is a second layer on the Fair Compressor. To get to that layer, we use our Layer button that's right here and press down. So we can see that right here, the first layer is our middle, and the second layer is our sides. In this mode, we actually have two channels of the compressor. We have the middle and the sides. The compressor takes the left and right channels, inputs them into a matrix, and then the matrix takes the sum of the left and right channels and outputs them into the middle. And then it takes the difference, or the left and the right, and it puts them into the sides. And that way it can compress the sum and the difference in separate ways. Once it's done processing the two sides, the middle and the sides, it takes them and sums them back together into a left and right channel and puts them out. So we have stereo coming in, and then it gets split into a middle, which is the sum, and the sides, which is the stereo spread, compresses them differently, and then puts them back into a stereo spread. So now that we know how the MS Fair Comp works, let's go ahead and take a look into what controls we actually have. So the first thing we have is our input gain. The input gain is adjustable from -20 all the way up to 0, with the default being -18 being unity. This is adjusted in 0.5 dB steps. Our next knob is our threshold, and this goes from 0 all the way to 10 in 0.1 increments. The default is going to be 1.5. Now basically, if we want to lower the threshold, giving more compression, we would want to go ahead and turn this up. If we wanted to lessen the compression or raise the threshold, we would want to go ahead and lower this down. And the default is 1.5. So the third knob that we have is going to be our time. We have 6 positions on this, and it basically is going to change the attack time and the release time. I'm going to go ahead and place a table here on the screen. Position 1 gives us an attack time of 0.2, and position 2 gives us an attack time of 0.2, as you can see. It does change the release time from 300 to 800 milliseconds. And you can see that position 3 and position 4 has a little bit longer of an attack time, and the release time is at 2 and 5 seconds. Now the interesting one here that we have is position 5 and 6. This keeps a short attack time, but the release time is program dependent. So we can see that if there's transients, the release time is 2. If there's multiple peaks, it changes the release time to be 10 seconds. And you can also see that same information for position 6. The next knob that we're going to take a look at is the bias knob. Now the bias is very similar to the original FairChild 670 knob of the DC threshold. Now this adjusts the ratio and the knee of the compressor. By turning this clockwise or up, you're actually going to be giving yourself a softer knee. And what the softer knee is going to end up doing is lowering the threshold because it gives it a more rounded curve on the compressor. Now, if you take this to the left or counterclockwise, you're giving it a more hard knee. Now, with this knob, if you wanted to get more compression, you would turn this to the right. If you wanted to have less compression, you can turn this to the left. So the bias knob is really great for just fine-tuning this compressor just a little bit more. The next knob that we're going to be taking a look at is our balance knob. Now our balance knob is set by Behringer to 55%. Now the interesting thing is there's no information about this knob and it does not adjust the wet to dry ratio, at least not that I can hear. So unfortunately I have not been able to find any audible difference by using this knob. It is, however, adjustable from negative 100% all the way up to positive 100% in 5% increments. Lastly, we have our output gain, which is adjusted from negative 18 all the way up to positive 6 in 0.5 dB increments. Now, go ahead and take a look at my next video, which is going to be actually implementing this compressor on a bus where the drums are being sent to, so we can really see the magic of this compressor in use. Thank you so much.